It's on the hour, so I think we'll just get started. It's really great to be here. Thank you very much for inviting me, Kasia, and for having me, everybody else. My name is Imogen. I'm one of the publishers or product managers with Pearson in the UK. I'm coming to you today from Scotland, but usually from London. I work in the adult team, so I look after a number of the titles in our adult list, including Roadmap, where the examples will come from today. I'm also working at the moment on our new platform, Pearson English Connect. So we're going to look at both of these today. Before we get started, though, I would very much like to ask you a question. And that is, what makes a good teacher? So Grant talked a lot about the revolution in education, the move to digital. I want to bring it back to the classroom and start asking what makes a good teacher in your mind. I'll just give you a minute to think, and then please add thoughts into the chat box. Passion, loving what you do, motivation and skills, everyday development, brilliant. Knowledge, creativity, motivation. Yeah. Being student friendly as well, flexibility, tolerance. Oh, that will move too fastly, too quickly. Interesting. Being able to leave your personal stuff behind the door. That's for every job. Access to good resources. A very difficult question. Well, absolutely. Resourcefulness, loving what you do, loving the people, the students, IT literate. Yeah. Patience. Brilliant. Thank you. I mean, there's lots and lots and lots of ways to answer that question. They're all right. This is an answer taken from the Times Educational Supplement tests in the UK. They talked about knowledge of subject. So, I mean, it seems very obvious, but it's worth adding that the teachers students remember. If you think about the teachers that you remember most from school, they're either terrible or the good teachers are because they had a passion for the subject and they passed that enthusiasm on. It's something that I think a lot of you mentioned in the chat. Classroom skills, again, that what I and what they meant here was the mechanics of teaching. So knowing the materials, knowing how to get students to actually use language, how and when to change groupings and dynamics of a class. How to monitor and mark effectively, what to do with the knowledge that we had in the first box, and of course how to manage discipline. High expectations for students. This is something that I don't think people mentioned, but it always comes up in every analysis of what makes a successful class. Teachers who set high standards for their students in terms of quality and in terms of effort, help students achieve their best. So if students know that a teacher is not going to tolerate a poor effort, but will give them the encouragement and the support that they need to do their best, then they'll be much more likely to try. Planning skills, well, lesson planning and the follow-up is crucial for effective teaching. So that's again from in-depth knowledge or familiarity with the resources and the content that you'll be using, and carefully staged lesson plans, giving very clear assignments, and then good record keeping of student grades, of their strengths and weaknesses. Basically, organisation helps keep everyone on track. The next one is, sorry, I'm still scanning the chat box because there's more coming in. Individualism, that's an interesting one. Creating a sense of community. So for any subject, but in particular for language, I mean, learning English is learning to communicate And so here, perhaps more than in any other subject, teachers need to help students feel comfortable in the classroom, feel like they belong. And when there's a sense of group, of trust, of belonging, then students feel able to participate. Adaptability, well, going back to grant session, adaptability, goodness me, more now than ever. I mean, teachers have always needed to be adaptable, and I'm sure you all are, but gosh, then throw in a pandemic, throw in the shift to digital, teachers have always needed, and now more than ever, to be adaptable. Communication skills, so essential to create that sense of community we talked about, but also to get across the topic, the message to students, to give feedback effectively, both good and bad, and also to receive feedback from students and from colleagues, and take that constructively. And some people mentioned children, so dealing with parents as well also involves good communication skills. So these are all skills that I'm sure you all have in spades that come together to make a good teacher. And I added that last one there because I believe that good tools can help with all of these things and help make a good teacher even better. So we looked at the skills that make a good teacher. And before we go on to look at these in terms of our platform and the course that we're going to look at today, I wanted to sort of slightly translate these into jobs to be done, if you like. So these are some of the general tasks or jobs that teachers do, that you do, that bring in these skills that we talked about. Okay, so Grant talked a huge amount about connected learning, and one part of that can be our new platform, Pearson English Connect. Let's cross over to the platform now so that I can show you what I mean. So hopefully this will work. I'm going to be using my teacher account. Where is it? Here. Aha, yes, good. And then I'll be using videos for anything that's got a student side as well, just so that I don't overcomplicate myself while I try to talk. Oh no, right, this is annoying. Every time I change slide to get my notes up, I'm going to have to change view. I didn't practice this part before. We'll get there. All right. I'm sorry, I'm just trying to think if there's an easier way to do this. Probably not. So, I've got backup screenshots in case my internet goes down, by the way, in case you're wondering what's happening. Apologies, we might have to switch between them. So when you come onto the new platform, now, many of you, I'm going to ask you in the chat actually, because this is the CEE group, and I've seen that there's lots of people from Georgia, from Croatia. Actually, we've taken something that was available to you last year and tried to build on it and make it even better. So I want to ask you in the chat now, have you been using either active books or ebooks in the past year? Brilliant. Aha. Okay, so in fact, everybody's saying yes. Fabulous. Okay, I thought there was going to be a mixture. So if you know this, some of this will be known to you and some of it will be new. So we've got a couple of no's. Okay, so there's a mixture of people in the audience. So forgive me if I'm going over things that you know, but some of this will definitely be new. Basically, when we were looking at the way that we in the central team could help teachers around the world, we looked at what people all around our regions had been doing throughout the pandemic to help people. And one of those was the Active Books eBooks platform that your region had looked at. And we thought, wow, that's fantastic. let's take that, make it even better and make it available to teachers around the world. So we have looked at what you've been using. We have taken the feedback that I don't know if you fed into the feedback processes that have been going on, but we've listened to comments from you and needs from around the world and tried to build something that's even better. So if you haven't already been using it, so this is my normal Pearson English portal account. The journey across will be slightly different when we launch the new version of it, Pearson English Connect, in September. But basically, you'll click from the portal and be taken to the platform, much as you are at the moment. You'll land in My Content. Oh, it gets clogged up with the Zoom as well, but you'll land in My Content, where you'll see all of the content that you've got available to you. At the moment, we've got demos of a lot of different subject courses here. And then if that gets a bit overwhelming, you can favorite one so that you've got just the things that you want to work with available. So when I click here, I land in my students book. At the moment, we've got a Unit 2 ready, and we're working on the rest behind the scenes. And then I can select a lesson, and I land in my book. I'm going to go to lesson 2A. So this is the main ebook view. And as you know, if you're working with active books, it's the same for teachers and students. So it's a real bonus on what we have currently, in the sense, or what we had previously if you have already switched, in the sense that now teachers and students know exactly what each other have, and teachers don't have to try to second think the ebook that the students have. The differences are that the teacher has a control panel here with the usual whiteboard tools, and they also have the facility here to go to the whiteboard. So I can open a whiteboard, upload a picture, draw, etc. I can also download the board and send it to students after the lesson. So if we've been working on vocabulary, or I've been presenting in a different way to the course book, then I can just download this and actually send it to my students. Let's go back. I've got a link to the workbook here. So if you're familiar with the Pearson English portal, in fact, let's go to the same thing on the portal just to look, where the presentation tool is available with the, actually we're in Unit 2, aren't we? Where you can see the student's book and the workbook. It's the same idea here. So the teacher is able to display the workbook for the related lesson. It'll just take a minute to load. And then we can go into all of the activities. So this would be where the students are using the print workbook, and the teacher wants to go through homework or use one of the activities in class. There's a quick link to the resources, and then we've got a link to the teaching notes for this lesson. We've also got the teaching notes for any given activity. When you're on the lesson play page, it gives you just an overview of the lesson, what is the goal, and then an additional warm-up activity. But once we're in an activity, let's just go here because we can, then it'll give you the lesson notes for this specific activity. So perhaps you don't want to display this in class, but it's useful, useful when planning. Right. This is where I want to change my notes, and this might go wrong, but we'll see. So we've seen this, we've seen this. So we're talking about connected learning and how does the teacher stay connected? In a physical classroom, the teacher can work with this tool on an IWB or a projector in the same way that you have for years. And in an online class, you can share this screen in presenting mode. This is going to get really awkward having to go between them, but there we are. If we go back to the course book and go into an activity, let's go in here. The activities are all interactive, and as a teacher, I can do them with my students. I can elicit answers and add and check them as I go, or I could just show the answers. Let's reset that. I could just show the answers either one by one or all at the same time. But of course, teachers are creative, and you might want to start by, perhaps we'll create a hide area. You might want to start your class. Oh, no, wrong one. It should have been the other one. Silly me. Let's reset that. So maybe we want to start the class with by hiding everything apart from the photographs and eliciting. So I might say, okay, class, what can you see in the photographs? So this particular lesson is about talking about past experiences. So I might start, before we go into the past, start in the present. What can you see? What is happening in the pictures, students? Let's just do that now. So what can you see in picture A? What is happening? So we're going to imagine we're in an online class and we have a chat box. And the teacher's asking, what's happening in picture A? He's washing his car. Washing his car, that's one option. I don't think he's washing though. He looks a bit upset for that. He has a ticket. And how might the man be feeling? You got a fine. Yeah. He's angry. Yep. Yeah, he's got a parking ticket perhaps, or some kind of fine. You're right. Okay, so we could go through these and elicit the what's happening in each picture before we go, and then we could go and do the activity together. So what we are supposed to do here is match the photographs to one of these texts. So this text says, the other day I met an old friend for the first time in years. It was such a surprising meeting. We were amazed and excited to see each other again. Oh, I don't know why I've got a scoreboard up there. So which of these images would that be? The other day I met an old friend. Oh, everybody's answered C, brilliant. And what about 2? Yesterday was a really annoying day. I borrowed my wife's car and I got a parking ticket. She was annoyed with me. Yeah, that's the one we looked at. People saying A. And then finally, I love cooking. I find it very relaxing after a long, stressful day at work. I don't like shopping for food, though. It's very tiring. People saying D. I think I agree. Let's check. Yes, we got those all right. So if I had checked at the bottom, there we go. When I checked that screen, it was on the bottom, so you didn't see it, but I've got a medal because I got them all correct. So this is a way to get some sort of light gamification. I also want to point out that so the next activity is then to analyze the text and think about, when do we say ED, amazed, annoyed, and when do we say ING? So as a teacher, you've got choices. You can do this as a class. You could put students in pairs to discuss, or you could have students do it on their own. Now, when the students have exactly this activity, they just don't have the extra tools. So you could either have them discuss, or if you want to, you could have them type their answer or even record their answer, should you wish to. Good. I'm sorry, I'm going to have to go. Oh, I was too prepared and I've got a backup of everything, which means I can't find my notes now. Yeah. So the students, as I say, have exactly the same facility. And so when they check their answers, I think you would, those of you who use ActiveBooks already, you'll be familiar with this. But the students, when they check their answers, let's get it wrong a few times just for fun. Use that off now. So let's just put them all as something that's probably incorrect. So now when I check this answer, oh gosh, I've got errors. I can see that I've attempted 3 times in total, and across all attempts, I've had 7. So I must have done this before the session today. If I try to get some of these correct, that's uncheck that, try and get this one correct. It was an annoying day. That's the car parking, so that's A. And let's get this one still wrong. So I've now got an additional attempt. I've still got 1 error, and my total errors is now 1 more. So as a teacher, I'll be able to see these statistics for all of my students, and as a student, I can see, you know, have I got it down to 0 errors? Are we all correct yet? And how long did it take to get there? So it gives me lots of information about performance. It tells me, when I'm a teacher looking at these, which we may look at in a minute, it'll take a few clicks. It tells me which of my students have achieved the correct answer, how long did they take to get there, and how many errors did they take in total. So I can get a sense of how easy or how difficult they're finding activities fairly quickly. Now, if a teacher really wants to dig into how students are doing, they can create an assignment. And again, let's imagine we're in a physical classroom for now. I can do this directly at the front of the class from here. I can just click create assignment, and it'll go to the assigning. I can and it will preload this lesson, and I can then select this activity or more. That will then go to students. Now, in a physical classroom, we would assume that students have their mobile phone with them, so they can pick up their phone, log on and do the activities there. Or if we're online, obviously they'll be at their computers and they'll find them then. So when the student submits, I'll have the data. So that's in a physical classroom, or if you're on an online classroom where you happen to be using Zoom or something. But teachers still have the issue that they cannot see what's happening in real time. So I want to show you the virtual classroom. I understand from the feedback that a lot of people haven't yet discovered the virtual classroom. I think it's extremely powerful. So, but I'm actually going to show you by video, because I have to be, as you can see on the screen here, I have to be 3 people at once, but I really want to show you the tool. So here's what I recorded earlier, if you like. I think you can see my screen. So you're basically going to see the teacher's screen, which is the big screen on the left, and then you've got 2 different student screens above right and bottom right. So let me just play this video, and then we'll come back. So, as a teacher, I have the usual tools. I've got a chat box. I can talk to my students. They can see it and they can respond. I have a whiteboard, so I can draw, I can type text, add a picture. I can save it and send it afterwards, and of course I can clear it. I can also put students into breakout rooms if I have a larger class and I want to work with 2 or 3 smaller groups. But what I really want to show you are these 2 features here. And these are engagement tools, so that as a teacher, I can keep my students active, keep them motivated, and I can also monitor and see what they're doing and check that they're following the class. So first is a question. I've already asked my students one question. I asked them what they had for breakfast. They answered, and they can then see everybody's answers because I have published it. Now, if I want to publish anonymously, which is what I've done, then I can toggle that. If I think it's okay, or I want them to see everybody's answers, I can turn the anonymous off and they will see who answered each thing. I can ask a new question simply by typing. And I send a question, and then that instantly appears. I won't do that right now. The other thing I want to show you is assignment. Now, this is something that is genuinely different to most other offerings. So I, as a teacher, can assign specific material, courseware, to my students. So I'm going to go to the same lesson that we had before. And I think I'll share the vocabulary activity we looked at. So I click Start Assignment, and my students can now see they have an assignment. They can click to open the lesson. And as we go through, you'll see that as they complete it, the score will go up. I'll be able to see how many times a student has attempted it. George actually did try this before, so we've just refreshed it. I'll be able to see the score go up. I'll see how many times they've checked, how many items they got wrong, and so on. So let's see that in action. Here, I think I am George. I'm answering questions, and so I can see the score go up, or the amount I've completed. Then I check it. I got 7 wrong, so that's translating here. The teacher can see that I got 7 wrong. They can see that I've checked it once. I've had 1 attempt, and then if I try again, then off we go again, and so on and so on. You can see that check creeping up with every check. This adds up, and so on for all the different students. And you can imagine you would see all of your students' activity at the same time, in real time. It's very powerful for keeping track of what your students are doing, making sure that they understand the content of the course, plus making sure they're actually paying attention. So I can see here that John and Peter are not, and I can do something about that. So the virtual classroom is built in. It's got fantastic engagement and monitoring tools, plus all of the usual tools that you would expect in a virtual classroom. Great. Now, I only assigned one activity in this video, but you can see I can look by student at the top, and if I'd assigned multiple activities, so maybe we've just had I don't know, a grammar presentation, or there's a series of sort of 3 or 4 activities I want to do. I can also get a sense down here of whether there's a particular area that they're finding difficult. And again, I can then intervene and dig in and help. I can also use this tool to see whether I'm moving too slowly and I should just get on with it, which is a tool I feel like I'm lacking here, because of course so many of you have seen the Active Book platform before. I'm going to assume we're ready to move on and do so. So, there we go. So we looked at presenting in a classroom or in person. We've looked at ways to engage students. We've looked a little bit at assigning and monitoring in the virtual classroom, and ways to make sure that everyone's working together and coming together. So obviously a lot of this can help with adaptability, moving between in-person, online. And there's a lot to talk about with Roadmap the course. I mean, I've simply shown examples. We haven't really talked about the course at all. That's a whole other session for another day. But now I just want to look at adaptability in a slightly different way and think about mobile access. Let me again go to the kind of live session. So let's go home. All of the content on Pearson English Connect, and this is where it starts to get different to Active Books, is mobile responsive. And this can really transform the way that students learn. Sorry, let me show you while I talk. If I go to another little screen that I believe I have, this one. Yeah, so all I've done here is basically shrink the size of the screen, and the system automatically recognizes that I'm on a device with a smaller screen and changes the content to match that. So let's have a look at the full screen and the mobile together. But this, being able to use everything on mobile will increase accessibility. A lot of families don't have computers, but most have got at least one mobile phone. So hopefully this means everyone will be able to participate. It increases engagement. Mobile is the format our learners enjoy. It's the format they want to use. Let's go into an activity just while we do this. It increases opportunity to learn. I mean, most learners don't go anywhere, most people, I don't, without their mobile phone. So it means that they can continue learning wherever they are. Now, I'm not going to show you this, but there is an offline app as well. So they can, this is just using the browser. Again, you can see that it's changed the format, it's stacked the photographs, everything's been reflowed for a mobile format. Let's go forward one, different kind of thing. App. So there is also an app to use the material offline. It's actually desktop and mobile. The purpose really is if you don't have connectivity, you download this, really it's a shell, and then you can download sections of content at a time. So that helps with data usage. Use it offline, and then it'll sync when you're back online, and everything will go back into your gradebook. Oh, we didn't look at the gradebook actually. So this is the lesson report that a student gets at the end of the lesson. The same data will feed into the gradebook. And again, it will show you how many attempts you've taken. Do you still have errors? How many total errors across? And if you got an award, it will flow through as well. I think I've got too many different things open, so my award hasn't flown through, but if we get everything right, it will. So that's mobile. I also want to show you a little bit of accessibility, because again, this is new. Now, this is a bit of a work in progress. So we are making everything accessible to WCAG 2.1 AA standards. So that's the European accessibility standards. So everything will be accessible. We have a text-to-speech module, which I should be able to show you.
Keyboard navigation is on.
So I've just turned on the keyboard navigation. I can now use tab to go between all of the different things. If I pause, it will read out.
Vocabulary 1.
And then if I press enter, oh no, then it will
New page.
Go into
Vocabulary 1.
Yeah, and then let's
Instruction.
So this told me what this is. If I want it to read the instruction, I press the space bar. Nope, I press
Look at the photos and discuss the questions.
Enter, and it will read it out. So for students who need the support, they can now have everything read out, and they can navigate simply using the keyboard, no need to use a mouse. We've used an inbuilt system for this so that it's possible to really navigate within the activities and not simply read what's on the screen. There are other accessibility tools as well. that we will be making live. I don't have them right here to show you, but things like we'll have a what do they call it? A dark screen mode where you'd have white on black background for people for whom the kind of black on white swims a little bit. We're also going to be putting in a size of text button so that you can automatically get a much larger font size. So there's lots on accessibility coming, and again, this is something that's new in Pearson English Connect. All of the content with Pearson English Connect is mobile responsive. So students and teachers can access from any device. I'm sorry, that was in case my internet went wrong. I had a backup video, but it's playing. Gosh. Great. So we've looked at how Pearson English Connect can help in a physical or in an online class. And just a final word about how it can help you build your business. So building your school's reputation is really important for your success, and Pearson English Connect can help with that. First, it gives you the ability to flex your business model. If you can offer in class, at home or mixed learning, it allows you to extend the reach of your school and also react to any more unexpected circumstances. And goodness knows we've seen enough of those. And as teachers and learners aren't restricted by a commute, you can reach more learners in a wider area. You can also start to think about recruiting teachers from a wider location, or if you're a teacher, you can also think about applying for roles in a wider location. It also gives you control. So Pearson English Connect gives you that visibility across classes. It makes planning very easily. We didn't look today, but there's lots of sort of personalization, the ability to add and upload your own, we could look at that actually, the ability to add your own content. So if I go back here, for example, I can pre-add it when I'm planning my lessons, but that takes a little bit longer to show you. So I'm just going to show you an assignment, for example. So I could create an assignment. Let's have today's stuff as today's assignment. I could write an instruction to my students. Please, I don't know, look at the website and do some things. But the point is that I can add activities from the resources I use, but I can also upload a file, so anything at all that I've created, or I can link to a URL and then the students will be taken out. So that could be the sort of instruction that I've just written, you know, look at this, do some research and write a paragraph. It could also be, you know, a third party tool with activities that you send them out to do, whatever you like. You can now send within the system as an activity. Gosh, I'm running out of time. Okay, back to where we were. Yeah, so it's giving you control. We talked earlier on about planning and how important organisation is. And I think with Pearson English Connect, your planning can be much more flexible. You can have everything in place before you go. The gradebook, again, we didn't have time to look in detail. Some of the changes that are coming, if you've been using Active Books, is we'll be bringing all of the different parts of gradebook into one place. So when you see the new version, you will see just one single place to look at all of your students' gradebooks. So giving control and giving you visibility across all of the classes and into every learner's progress. So Pearson English Connect considers your learners' needs, your teachers' needs, and your business needs. I think we've got a few minutes for questions. So I'm going to stop there, and if there's any questions or if there's anything that you would like to see in more detail, we probably do have a little bit of time. I don't see any questions, so thank you all very, very much. We're really excited about this new platform, and thank you for being the, those of you who've been using Active Books and ebooks, thank you for giving all your feedback on it to let us build on that. The examples I took were from Roadmap. We will be bringing Roadmap in the new platform in August, so ready for back to school. And I really look forward to potentially seeing you again to talk about that in a little bit more detail another time. Okay, well, if there are no questions, then I'm going to hand back to you, Kasia, and say thank you very much.
Thank you very much for your session, Imogen. It looks very promising. I think that it will be very exciting both for teachers and for students to use and to try out in the classroom all the possibilities and all the options. So looking forward to being able to use it practically. Thank you. Now we are breaking for 15 minutes, well, almost 20 minutes, and we'll start at 2 o'clock to finish off with the last session for today. The presentations, the recordings will be available on your Pearson websites next week. So you can go there and we'll notify you when the presentations, where the sessions, the recording will be available on your website. We'll notify you by email. So check your emails and be in touch with us.